Good afternoon and welcome to Mike and the Hoss on Wolfeboro Community Television. I'm Mike Danais.
And I'm Charlie Hossack.
Coach, let's thank our sponsors right away. So Downtown Grill and Cafe.
Skelly's Market.
And Morrissey's Porch and Puff. And we also want to thank our producer, Timothy Goodwin, behind the glass.
Yes, thank you, Timothy.
So we have we have a guest today.
We do.
Coach Paul Landry, the Kingswood varsity football coach, is going to join us.
Yes.
Talk about some fundraising, some summer programming that they have going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the fall preview special.
No.
Though, so because we want to have them talk about the season, at a later date.
As we get closer to the season, absolutely.
And then we're going to do what we do, talk about what's going on in the sports world, and things are creeping back.
We're getting close.
There's a few hurdles that have popped up though for some for some organizations.
Today, the day that we're filming is a Tuesday, and this is our first. The stay-at-home order expired yesterday.
Yes.
And so now we're at a stay-at-home advisory here in the state of New Hampshire. So things are starting to open up. So.
Yep, and you hope that they keep trending in that direction.
Right.
Because some states have started to trend in the other direction,
right.
and you just hope everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing.
That's right.
And that people stay healthy.
Yep, I agree.
We're going to start with Coach Landry.
Yeah.
And so Coach is going to join us, talk about, like we said, summer programs, some fundraising things that he has promoted. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to getting together with him.
Let's do it.
All right, Coach Landry.
Well, this is really exciting. We have with us Coach Paul Landry. Paul is the head football coach at Kingswood Regional High School. He's also a health teacher, and I think probably the most important thing, he's a friend of mine. So welcome, Coach Landry.
So you're Charlie's friend. Congratulations.
It's great to have you on, Coach.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Coach, before we get started, this is not going to be the preview for the season. We want to bring you back for the preview for the season.
Okay.
So to talk about the specifics, but we are going to talk about some football, though.
We are, definitely.
Go for it.
All right. Well, first off, let's talk about Kingswood, the football team. The Kingswood, obviously, football team has been doing a lot of stuff this offseason. I know you've been doing some fundraising. Do you want to talk a little bit about fundraising and then talk about kind of the excitement that's coming up in July?
Yeah, sure. We obviously, athletics is a big part of athletics is giving back, and we know that our community supports athletics tremendously. So we try to do whatever we can on our end, at least as football teams, and to give back in any way that we can. So we've done some things early in the year where we did a venture where we tried to get kids to sell gift cards at local restaurants, and the purpose behind that was the gift cards would be purchased by individuals out there in the community, and they would leave them there or mail them to me, and then we would give them to families in need. So with the pandemic that we're all going through, this was a way of us giving back. So that was the first thing that we did earlier in the year. But we have coming up July 13th, we have our annual golf outing. And so we call it annual, even though we're into our second year, but it's become that much more popular this year than even last year. So I think that that will be something that the community will certainly be excited about as well. It was a lot of fun last year.
Can you talk about that golf tournament? Where is it going to be, and how teams can get involved?
Sure. July 13th, we are planning on a 5-man best ball. That all these conditions are subject to change depending upon restriction guidelines. So we have to be a little flexible. But it's going to be in Indian Mound again this year. And we were there last year. It was 18 holes of golf, 5-man best ball. Registration starts at 7:30 in the morning, and we tee off. Tentatively, we have a shotgun start for 8 o'clock in the morning. It's $100 per person, and the proceeds go towards Kingswood football. And so it's been, like I said, last year it was a great fundraiser for us, but more importantly, it was a great way to get alumni back to Kingswood football, get the community back and seeing each other. It was just a lot of fun. Charlie was there last year. He can speak to that as well. I think we had an awful lot of fun with a lot of gifts We had silent auctions, obviously prizes for the best teams, and it was good.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great to bring the community together, and the community support was awesome too. Local businesses sponsored holes, and I thought that was fantastic. Shifting a little bit, Coach, we
Sure.
last year you had a relatively successful season. You had some wins and a lot of competitive football games. As you know, Mike and I were there broadcasting your games, so we got to
Yeah.
enjoy a lot of good football. Now this year, things have changed quite a bit. You have a new staff coming in, and I'd love for you just to touch base with us about your new staff and some of your plans this summer with what you're going to be able to do with the athletes.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you. I know that we had a little bit of success last year in 3 wins, and from a coach's perspective, you always wanted a few more, but we're getting there. And the kids had to learn how to win last year, and our seniors did a tremendous job of stepping up early on after our first win and buying into what it's all about to be competitive and how to finish and how to work hard through things in adversity and all those kinds of things that haven't been there for the previous couple of years beforehand. Kingswood is rich in athletic tradition, and I that's my goal is to bring it back. I want kids to be really proud to be a part of Kingswood athletics, not just football, but be really proud of that, and they should be proud of that because this is a tremendous community. So yeah, we have some new staff members coming on board. Unfortunately, we had a few staff members from last year that couldn't make it back. It's a grind for the coaches too. It's a lot of work, and the expectations of the coaches are just as high or even higher than they are for the players to make a commitment to being better. And everybody last year did a great job of doing just that. And this year we have not only the addition of some coaches that have been with us in years past, such as yourself, Charlie, which we're excited about having you back. Number one, that was great to have you back.
We couldn't match
We
the
also had Dave
contract. We couldn't match his contract that you offered him. It was
Well, Mike, you don't have any idea how much money Charlie put in my pocket to say that.
Well, actually, thank you. I am looking forward to coming back. I miss the kids, and I'm looking forward to getting back onto the sidelines. So thanks, Coach.
Yeah, no, you bet. And I mean, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it's a long season, but we have fun with it too. And I mean, my God, that's what athletics should all be about. It should be about having fun and enjoying what you're doing. Dave Hilbert will be coming back with us. He didn't coach last year. He's a phys ed teacher at Middleton Elementary School, and he's got a lot of knowledge too, and he will bring back to us, and we're looking forward to having him back. And we also have a coach that has an unbelievable resume. His name is Phil Estes, and Phil Estes has been coaching. Well, last year he actually coached at the University of New Hampshire, but prior to that, for 20 years, he was the head coach at Brown University, where he won 3 Ivy League state championships. He was also an offensive coordinator before that at the University of New Hampshire. He's got a pretty extensive resume. And so we communicated a little bit in the off season, and the University of New Hampshire, Brown University, UCLA, all these schools could not match what we had to offer here at Kingswood. So we're excited to have him with us.
That's great. That's awesome. He's going to be a great addition. So, and I know that, I've heard that he's also going to be working in our school district. So that's going to be pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, he's just, as good of a coach as he is, he's just that much better of a human being. He's a great guy, and he's that we're all going to be better. The coaching staff, the kids, the community, everybody's going to be better by his presence. It's going to be great.
Now, looking at what we're going through right now with the pandemic, and obviously our fields are closed, and normally we would be doing some football stuff right now, and we can't. But what are you looking towards for this summer? What have you put some stuff in place for the team so that they can work out and start to get ready for August?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's been very hard, not just here at Kingswood, but throughout all states. And we have remote training going on, and as good as you can make that be with strength and conditioning, it's hard because you're asking an awful lot of the kid without being in front of the kid. So that's always a challenge. But the school district bought a brand new software system that will help us with that. It's called Platform, and Aaron House and Alex and some of the other people at the school have done a lot of work to make that happen for our athletes, and it's pretty good. It's got a lot of information in there that can help kids. But we started before we got into Platform. We actually started creating our own summer conditioning, strength and conditioning program. And Dave Hilbert, who I mentioned earlier, was pretty instrumental in getting that started. He actually videotaped himself and combined that with a spreadsheet of how to do the lifts, what to do, body weight if you don't have access to weights at home, how to do these things without having a gym. And he did a great job of improvising with other things that you can use in place of weights. And he did that through demonstrating through video, so kids can not only understand it through a spreadsheet, see what they got to do, but they can visually see it too, and the technique and how to do the lift the right way. And strength and conditioning is a big part of football in the off season for many schools. And I always said that the strength and conditioning is important. I mean, it's important, yes, but what it does is it promotes kids to be successful. They see gains, they see success, and then you come into the season with confidence, and that's huge. And that's really what it's all about, is feeling comfortable with where you're at and in the start of the season. So we hope that we can come back together. I know July 1 has been a tentative date that we are going to reassess if we can work with kids and open up the school, maybe, even if it means having circuit-based training on the turf field or in a parking lot, or for us with football, throwing a ball and catching and all the drills and skills that we need, footwork and such. So we hope that we can come together relatively shortly, maybe July 1 or shortly after that.
That sounds great.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
No, I want to save some of it for the full fall preview.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
When he gets his roster ready and that stuff, I think it's pretty exciting, Coach. Like I said, you stole Charlie from us, but as soon as you hit $1, we were done. So.
Well, it wasn't hard.
Oh boy.
Well,
I'm going to get in trouble here, Coach. I'm going to be, I still have a show to do.
No, in all honesty, I mean, what I'm trying to do is put really positive people in front of kids. And Charlie's one of those guys, as we already know from the show, but even people that just know him, he brings an awful lot to athletics, and kids they rally around him, they love him, and it's going to be great. We're going to have a lot of fun this year.
Sounds good. Well, Coach, thanks for joining us. Hopefully, we're going to talk to you again in a couple months.
Okay.
And that we're on the fields. That's a big hope. And we've been doing this now, 9 episodes?
Yeah.
9 episodes where we've been dealing with COVID as far as talking about it, and we're starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And I think football is going to be a really good indicator of where we are. And if we could start playing football and kids could start hitting each other and throwing the ball around, I think it's going to be a good sign.
Yeah, I think the true test will be if the East-West, the Chad East-West game happens in early August, as well as the Shrine football game. I think that's going to be a good indicator for athletics moving forward.
Yeah,
I agree.
We heard that from Roger Brown that Chad game was going to be a good litmus test if football was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, actually, you mentioned, just so you know, you mentioned Roger Brown, so I need to call you out once again, Coach. Roger Brown is looking for a sweatshirt for Kingswood football, and he's a big fan of the show, so I hope that's in the mail.
Not a problem. I'll charge him appropriately.
Okay.
Great,
Sounds
Coach.
good.
Thanks
All
for
right.
joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so that was really good.
That was, yeah.
I was glad that we had him on, and I want to do a shout out to Timothy with the technology.
Definitely. So awesome.
Mike and the Hossack started down here. We're moving up to here. It's,
definitely. I love
good
having
stuff.
him in the corner of the screen, and it was that was awesome. And I do hope people recognize that this is Paul's second year, and he's already started to make great contributions to the Kingswood community and fundraising. And I'm hoping people will want to play some golf on July 13th. Come on out and benefit the Kingswood football team. They definitely could use the support, and it's a lot of fun. I did it last year. I know you were last year. You had another commitment, but if you're open this year, come on out. It's just a good time.
I do. Going back to one of the things that he said, he talked about weightlifting and that it's not just about getting stronger. It was about building confidence. And I had not really thought about it, but it was pretty easy to understand what he was saying. If a player comes back 20 pounds stronger, it's probably not going to make a humongous difference on the field as far as the physicality of
It's going to be up here, though.
But up here, he's thinking, I am a better football player. I am stronger. I can get into that situation a little bit stronger than I did before.
Definitely.
And it's great.
Yeah.
It's great because, it does promote confidence. Weightlifting, coming back stronger, even if you're 5% stronger than you were.
Yeah. You're more confident.
You're more confident.
And
you might be 50% more confident.
Exactly. And if Alex were sitting in between us, he would also say it prevents injuries, and that's so true. So just having that flexibility, that pliability, you're going to have reduced injuries. So it's great, and I applaud that. And I know there are other athletic teams at Kingswood that are doing the same thing.
So, talk about equity for a second. That we're obviously been very restricted as far as the school and what's open at the school, and
sure.
And the kids are responsible for doing their own weight training. Football's right around the corner.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so you might see depending on how motivated the kids are to get that in, there's going to be some advantages to some schools over other schools.
There will be. And I do want to, he had mentioned Coach Hilbert, who is a PE teacher at Middleton Elementary. The video is awesome. I mean, he put together videos of weight training that you can do with just stuff that's around the house. You don't have to have an advanced gym set. You don't have to make purchases. You can use, whatever you got. And he demonstrated that, and it was awesome. So it's kind of showing you that you can still work out, you can still get stronger, even if you don't have, $500 bench press in your house.
Well, it seems like his staff is doing, and congratulations as being part of that staff.
Thank you.
But it seems like you guys are doing everything you can to close the gap anyway.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see come the fall.
We will see.
It'll be exciting.
All right, so let's jump to some other stuff. Local baseball is starting up. We have two teams that are starting up. Our AAU Bulldogs team has a doubleheader on Sunday. We don't have a home field. We're on the road.
Yep.
And the Senior Babe Ruth team is starting up on Monday.
Which is great.
So things are happening. And the first pitch has not been thrown yet. And I've been saying this for a while. Until that first pitch gets thrown, but we've had a few practices.
Yeah.
Cam Place is coaching the Senior Babe Ruth team. We plan on having Cam on the show at some point. His work hours don't match up with us right now, but we do plan on having his second year coaching solely. It's his actually third year because he was a player coach 2 years ago.
Okay. And Cam's a Kingswood alum.
Kingswood alum, and he also playing at Husson.
Yep. Playing baseball at Husson.
And he does a really nice job, puts a lot of effort in with the kids, and it's just nice to see that young coaching coming up and how the kids look to him. So we're going to have Cam come in. But things are happening. You know what else is happening? Softball. When we were at the Nick the other night, there was a baseball practice, I think it was the Senior Babe Ruth one, and there was probably about 30 girls out there playing softball.
That was awesome.
They had a couple fields going on. Coach Shaw was out there running that. And so I think kids are itching to get out there. I think some parents are itching for their kids to get out of the house too.
Definitely.
So it's
it's great to see. So we know at least from baseball and softball moving in the right direction.
Yeah, and if you have another sport that's happening, please let us know. We still have at Mike and the Hoss our Twitter handle. So if you want us to promote one of your things that are going on, please reach out. We'd love to do that.
Can I ask a quick question pertaining to sports?
Sure.
Have you heard anything? You're my hockey guy. Have you heard anything about rinks opening in the area or things like that?
So I saw that the Ham Arena, which is the Conway Arena, is opening up at the end of July.
Okay.
I am pretty sure that some of the southern New Hampshire rinks are going to just open their doors at sometime in the next week or two.
Okay.
There's still a lot of restrictions, and I think the way that I'm understanding it from how the governor has said is that hockey is deemed a contact sport.
Okay.
All of the sports that we've seen opened are not contact.
Right, that's correct.
You know, golf, tennis, baseball, softball, and you know they're not letting football things happen right now.
Right.
They're not letting hockey team things happen right now. They're not letting locker rooms happen right now.
Right.
So you know, one of my buddies who runs the club program, he's been on the USA Hockey webinars, you know, for the past few weeks, and the restrictions that they put in hockey rinks or hockey teams, if they start, you know, there's no locker room. Kids are getting dressed at home or in a car,
parking
or
lot,
the parking lot, whatever.
Yeah.
And the only thing you can put on is your skates, and there's going to be mask guidelines. And I didn't get a chance to read all of them, but there's some restrictions that are not enabling games to be played yet. Kids can get on the ice.
Okay.
You know, for small group sessions, social distancing, etc.
Right.
You know, that kind of stuff. But hockey's a contact physical sport. It's hard because you're fully equipped in hockey. You know, you don't share equipment.
Right.
You know, nobody's putting on somebody else's shoulder pads during the middle of the game.
Right.
Like borrowing a baseball bat or something like that, or putting on a baseball helmet.
Yeah. You've got your helmet, your face shield, your mouth guard.
So, and I mean, I would think that hockey would be a sport that would be able to be opened up sooner.
Yeah.
Rather in soccer, for instance, you know, soccer is not necessarily a contact sport, but you're right in, you know, with each other, and there is no face, you know, shield.
Sure.
And so, saliva and you know, the stuff that's coming out of your mouth has a much more chance of getting on somebody else on a soccer field. Football, you know, that's a whole other story because those two, you know, the offensive line, defensive line, the tackling, and so on. I mean,
you're breathing on each other.
There's a lot of chances for some spread.
Piles, but I get it. Yeah. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I was wondering about the hockey piece, at least from not playing games, but at least getting out there to skate.
I think a lot of hockey players are right now wondering about the hockey. They're itching, and I know a couple boys in my house are really itching to get on the ice.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball, I think has been in the news quite a bit over the past week.
It has,
because we've talked about it. You know, it's been about 3 weeks now that we've talked about it, and they're struggling. They're struggling finding any kind of common ground. And it seems like, from what I saw today, that the Players Association just said, just tell us where to be, and we'll play.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going to be a 48-game schedule, or a very short schedule. Question for you. Who's at fault right now? Is it the owners or the players, or a little bit of both?
I mean, I guess to be politically correct, I would never use that term. I guess I just did. I would probably say that it weighs on both of them. But I mean, I guess if I were to take the needle, it's closer to the players. I feel the players are being a bit greedy and selfish. And I get the whole thing with the owners, but they're at a point where the baseball players, even if it's reduced salary, 48-game season, they're still getting paid.
Huge.
And
Huge.
lots and lots of money. So I think that's important. The owners are going to take a hit because there's nobody going to be going to the games.
So my understanding, what I was reading up in the past couple of days, is that a 48-game season, each team stands to lose an average of about $10 million.
It's a lot of money.
For me and you, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I know. For baseball owners and
for
players.
a baseball owner whose franchise is worth $3.6 billion.
Yeah, it's not a lot of money. I get it.
You know, and isn't... God, don't you, I mean, got to take that one on the chin a little bit and say, let's play ball? So...
because and part of that is that if they don't play ball, and we've talked about this almost ad nauseum, but they're going to lose baseball fans. So take it on the chin now, and then I'm going to return next season to watch, and the season after that. Because if you don't have a season this year, you may never. I mean, you'll probably get me back, but there's a lot of people that will never return to the game.
I think there's a lot of people that aren't going to return to the game anyway now because this happened, and I think it's an opportunity for baseball to start over. For professional baseball to start over and to look at their whole system, look at their minor league system, look and see, does a baseball organization require 8 minor league teams?
Right.
Does a baseball organization require, a system where roughly 10% of their minor league organization makes it to the major leagues?
Yeah.
You know,
No.
So I mean things like that.
I hear you, but the other ways with and I don't disagree with that, but I like having those minor leagues because if you have young guys that want to chase the dream of playing baseball, why crush their dream I mean, especially it's not like we're having 40-year-old men in the minors that are trying to survive and raise a family. But if you're 18, 19, 20, 21, and you've decided I'm going to not go to college right now, or I did go to college and graduate, why not give them a shot?
I'm not saying that I don't think there should be amateur baseball, or I'm saying that independent leagues is, I think, the way to go. Where so I guess I'll explain my point. We'll go deeper into this.
Yeah.
If you're a minor leaguer and you are in single A ball, and you're the 8th best outfielder in that organization,
Right.
You have you don't have a great chance of making it to that top team.
Correct.
But if you were played in Organization B, for instance, maybe you're the 3rd best outfielder, and you now have a great opportunity to get there.
Okay.
And so, but if you played in an independent league where you weren't owned by an organization, where you were a free agent, and that
You
now
can go to any
you
team.
can go to any team.
Okay.
And
I
so
understand that.
That's
Yeah.
I think it's time that they start looking at things, because there's a lot of example. I think Wade Boggs is a good example. Wade Boggs did not get to the major leagues until he was like 26 years old.
Right.
And because the Red Sox had a few third basemen in front of them that were pretty good.
Yeah.
If Wade Boggs would have been in any other organization, he probably would have been up there at 23.
Right.
And so
I see what you're saying. Okay, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I agree with that, because if you're the 8th best outfielder, the only thing you can hope for are, you certainly don't want to hope for injuries, but trades or this or
Right.
because you're never going to get there.
Right. And so I think that they need to shrink who baseball can control. And right now, baseball can control so many teams, many players. They have 3 A teams and a rookie team and a team that's out in Puerto Rico, and then they have control over those teams. They own those players' rights.
Right.
And so those players are, I'm not going to use slaves, but they are definitely owned by that team.
They're owned by that organization.
Owned by that team, and it's
they can't go play for the Oakland A's if they're owned by the Red Sox.
right. And so they might be losing an opportunity.
Gotcha.
I think they are at risk of losing everything, and I think it's time for baseball to look at everything. Look at everything, and look. Should they have somebody who's making $37 million a year?
Right.
Where that is the equivalent to the payroll of 3 or 4 teams in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things that are not working there. I think there's a reason why the NFL is way past baseball. NBA has passed baseball.
Right.
What do those two leagues have in common?
How the players are paid.
They have salary caps.
Yeah.
They have salary caps there.
They do.
And I think that matters. I think everybody feels like their shots now. I think the NBA is probably, because players can control movement as much as they can.
Yeah.
You still have your bigs, your Los Angeles, your Miamis, and things like that. But OKC,
Right.
Oklahoma City, you wouldn't think would be a basketball hub, but they were. They had Kevin Durant, because they were able to control their players.
Right. And with the MLB, they talk about the luxury tax, but is that really, when you talk about we want to stay below that in the whole scheme of things? For these owners, oh well, you're going to take a hit.
No, so last year the luxury tax was around $200 million.
Yeah.
So if your payroll went over $200 million, you paid, I don't know, what's the 50% of whatever you went over, and that gets spread around the lower teams. Kansas City and Tampa Bay had salaries of their whole team's salaries were around $40 million.
Right.
So it just there's, and the Red Sox were gung ho about not going over the luxury tax last year.
Yeah, and it's the teams you look at. You look at the Red Sox and the Yankees are the ones that are even approaching the luxury tax. And those are the teams that are close to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's I just an opportunity for them to do it. All right, real quick, some local flavor on this. 48-game season, good or bad for the Red Sox?
Well, the Red Sox are now in it. They're in it. I think it's good.
They're in it. They are 0 games back with 48 games left in the season. So this would be tied for first place in mid-August.
Yeah.
Think
and
about that.
we'd be pumped.
Yeah.
Especially with this team. So
well, and I'll give you another one. I think the Red Sox are not built for a 162-game season.
No.
They don't have the starting pitching.
No, right.
That was one of their big weaknesses was starting pitching.
Yep.
They had a lot of openers. They had a lot of guys that could throw 2 innings.
Yeah.
The teams that have that are going to be successful in this because there's not going to be a long minor league season to get your arm strength up.
Right.
And so Garrett Cole, who's playing for the Yankees now, who's a horse, is not going to be able to go 8 innings right out of the gate.
Right.
You know, he might get to 8 innings in late September.
Yeah.
And
they've already determined playoff teams
right.
by then. Gotcha.
So I'm thinking this is really good for the Red Sox.
I agree.
Another quick Red Sox note. Alex Cora was in the news a little bit.
Yeah.
And that he would be happy to come back to the Red Sox if they would take him.
Yeah.
Now, his name's passing me up by the current manager of the Red Sox.
I'm not going to get it now. So.
Okay, so
Yeah.
he's the interim manager still.
Yeah,
He's
it's
still
interim. Yeah.
And so this season, no matter what, if it's 48 games or, I mean, there's going to be asterisks all over the place, you know, this year with in the record books and who wins the World Series.
Right.
So it's not going to be a full year. Is Alex Cora your manager of the Red Sox next year?
Well, we talked a little bit about this, and you think he's coming back. So, I mean, if he's served his time, good chance that, I mean, I think the Red Sox have left that opening.
I do too. Yep,
Yeah.
I do too, and I would be I'd be okay with Alex Cora coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's this. Is there a stain on Alex Cora? A little bit?
I think so.
Yeah.
There's got to be a stain.
Yeah.
What about, speaking of baseball, did you get caught up in any of the 30 of 30 with Sosa McGuire?
I didn't watch any of it. I did see some of the talk afterwards.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of surprised they didn't mention the steroid thing until the end of the show.
Yeah, when they talked about the Andrews
It was
or whatever.
all about the steroid
I know,
thing.
I know. I watched it, and I actually remember the good feelings I had when it was happening, and I actually had some of those good feelings again. Not because of, I don't think they belong in the Hall of Fame, and I think that it's tainted because of the steroids, but what they actually did for Major League Baseball at that time, it was amazing. I mean, think about it. So they're in this home run race, and even Ken Griffey Jr. at the time was in it for a while, and they had the scoreboard. So think about us. You know, we're at Fenway. You see the scoreboard,
Oh, I know.
and then they had how many McGuire hit, Sosa, Ken Griffey Jr., and just the nation was captivated and excited. And the best part was Sosa being from the Dominican Republic, and you got redheaded McGuire, and they were as close can be as well. They were rivals but friends. It was just, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm caught up in all of this, everything that's going on, and I thought that was pretty awesome.
I went to the All-Star game. I think I told you this, the All-Star Home Run Derby in '99 when it was at Fenway, and they were all in it.
Yeah.
And it was really exciting to be there. And I mean, they were the long balls that they were hitting was amazing. It is certainly is dampened with the steroid stuff, and the reason why they were so inflatedly juiced up.
Of course.
That was kind of a bummer. And I don't think any of them handled it very well afterwards either.
Yeah.
Any of them. I remember they had the Senate hearing or the House hearing or whatever it was they were called there.
Yeah.
And McGuire now has the home run title. He made millions and millions of dollars off of this.
Right.
And, they asked him straight up, did you take steroids? He goes, oh, we're not here to talk about the past. You're here because of the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what you did.
This is why you're here. And I was waiting for somebody to step up and say, I did it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't such a taboo thing,
right?
At the time.
They weren't the only people doing it.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
I remember Brady Anderson.
Yeah.
You remember
even Craig Biggio.
Jeff Bagwell.
Yeah,
I mean, you go on down the line. There's a lot of guys that were doing it. And
one guy that wasn't though, Pete Rose. Sorry, I love him. Put Pete in the Hall of Fame. All right, but no, you're right. So they didn't take responsibility for what they had done.
No, and I think that's kind of sad, and it would have been interesting if a Roger Clemens, it was another one. He wasn't a hitter at the time, but he certainly pitched through that.
Sure.
If they would have stepped up and says, I did this, and I regret it. And I think somebody like Clemens or Bonds, who were great players before the steroid stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't think McGuire was a great player. I mean, McGuire was. He certainly was good. He was
good. I mean, Bash Brothers.
He hit the ball a long ways. Well, there was another steroid guy.
Jose
both of them
Canseco,
were,
yeah.
So I think that I would have liked to have seen them just take some responsibility, but none of them have.
Right.
That was I'm not aware of any of them having taken responsibility.
No, and kind of the point of why I brought this up is that, forget the steroids for 1 second, just that feeling of the country coming together and rallying around two people and excitement for baseball, and everybody's watching. Even non-baseball fans are tuning in to kind of watch this unfold. Okay, the Roger Maris record and all that, and it was exciting. What can happen now for baseball? Who is that? McGuire and Sosa and Ken Griffey Jr. Who are those people? Is it Mike Trout? I mean, who are these people that are going to rise up and carry baseball on their backs and get it back to where it should be?
I don't know. They can't repeat that, because...
Well, they're not going to repeat. They're not going to repeat the home run stuff.
Well, because everybody's hitting home runs now.
Yeah. I mean, Bonds broke the record, 3 years later?
Right. But now,
Yeah.
30 home runs is... half your lineup is hitting 30 home runs.
You got shortstops hitting 30 home runs.
You do.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I don't think that the home runs are going to be the answer.
I agree with that.
I mean, my personal feeling, they got to lower the price of admission at to get into games.
To get into games, yeah.
They've got to figure out how they do their salaries and to lower that price of admission.
Yeah.
Because baseball, they've lost the average guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you bring your family to games when you can, and I bring my family to games when I can.
Sure.
And it is a mortgage payment to bring your family.
I mean, where do I bring my family? Like, we go to Baltimore. It's just easier to go to It's less expensive for me to go to Baltimore to watch a 3 or 4 game series than to go to Fenway.
No, I mean, a Fenway, an average seat with your family of, I have 5, so a family of 5. Got to bring the boyfriend too, so their family, family of 6.
You got to eat something.
You got to eat and park and everything like that.
Yeah,
I'm in for $1,000 just with average seats, and and then if it's a rain out or if it's a crummy game, and they've got to lower that price. They got to bring those prices down where a family of 4 or 5 can go to a game, park, and get a hot dog for everybody and a soda for $100.
Yeah.
If they do that, I know it's going to certainly affect their bottom line. But if they stop paying people $37 million, they probably could do it.
Right. I agree.
So I think that's how you're going to get baseball, and I think baseball's going to have to do something drastic, and it's going to have to be something like that.
Yep. All right.
NBA was all geared up July 31st.
Heading to Disney World.
And then your buddy came in there and threw a wrench into it.
My buddy who's not even playing this season.
Nope.
So Kyrie Irving, yep. So he doesn't want to go to Orlando. He doesn't want anyone to go to Orlando.
Backstory.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
So Kyrie was planning on going to Orlando, even though he can't play.
Yeah.
He said, I want to go to Orlando and support my team.
Okay.
They said, the NBA and the Nets said, if you are not, because they're creating this bubble.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you are not going to be able to play, then you are not an essential person.
You're not invited.
You are not invited.
Right.
2 days later, Kyrie came out and announced that nobody should be going.
Nobody should be going. They should kind of keep the focus on the social, injustice going on in the United States, and that's what the focus should be.
Yeah, and by no means am I, disregarding that. I think if they feel that they need to focus on the social injustice, then I applaud them for doing that. But I'm not sure if it's totally related.
And let's say that it is related. Let's say it is related for a second. Don't you have a better chance of addressing these issues in our country if the NBA is playing games? Because they will then have, for lack of a better term, a captive audience watching so they can promote their message. By not having the NBA, there are going to be a lot of people that aren't paying attention to what's going on in the world.
I see what you're saying. And I think I'm just going to take the stance that if they feel that the best way to attack it is by not playing, then I'm not going to judge them on that, because I'm not living how they're living right now. I'm not feeling oppressed, and so I.
But these all I'm going to say is these NBA players are not oppressed.
No, but they're
making millions and millions of dollars.
No, but they're feeling responsible for those that are. And
so what I'm getting at is, and that's, I don't disagree with you if they don't want to come, but from my perspective, the best way for them to address this is to have a national audience, games being played, and then being able to say in a post-game interview, yeah, great, I got 7 rebounds this game, but you know what's really bothering me? And have that opportunity to say what's really bothering me.
I don't disagree with that. I can't put myself in their shoes.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where I'm saying is that if they think that this is the best way to deal with the message that they want to get out there, then then that's fine. I'm just not sure if Kyrie Irving, if that's the real
Well,
reason of Kyrie Irving.
That's what I was going to get back at. Kyrie Irving is probably just upset that he's not invited
So,
to Orlando and told not to go.
you know,
so now he's going to be a pot stirrer.
Right, and when I
Yeah.
put this on the agenda, it was
Yeah.
about Kyrie Irving being a pot stirrer,
Yeah.
not necessarily about judging whether the NBA should or should not come back.
Yeah, I get that. But whether or not Kyrie truly feels that way, and if this is just his way to say, okay, you're not going to let me go.
I want the story to be about me.
This is what it's going to be. I'm the vice president of the Players Association, and this is how I feel, and I'm gonna rally these guys to my side
Yes.
and say we're not going because of this.
Yes.
But it's really not because of this.
It's
Kyrie
because they
saying
won't let me
it's
go.
because of me because
Yes.
they're not going to let me go.
Yes.
To
This is all
Orlando.
about. This is all about my.
Has it never been not all about Kyrie?
No, it's not. And
So-
this little segment is about Kyrie because
Yeah.
we don't like Kyrie. So
Yeah. There
I'm
we go.
putting it out there.
So that being said, do you think the NBA will have a season?
Well, I think they will, and I don't necessarily think they have to create this bubble. The NHL is not creating this bubble. MLB is not creating this bubble.
Yeah.
The PGA Tour didn't create this bubble.
Yeah.
NASCAR didn't create this bubble. So I'm starting to see they can do an NBA season without being locked up for 3.5 months in Orlando.
That's a good point.
And so if they can get over that part, then I think they can. I mean, I like what the PGA Tour is doing, and obviously it's different than basketball, but they have select chartered flights to go from tournament to tournament. The players are, either they supply their own transportation individually. A lot of them have their own planes, but if, a lot of them don't, and so they go on these chartered flights that they have to pay for. They're allowed to bring their caddy, and they go directly from site to site, hotel, golf course. It's not one bubble that they
Right.
can't leave. The MLB is talking about using their home stadiums, but it's going to be chartered flights. You're going to be going from hotel,
Airport, hotel.
yeah. There's no going out to bars and restaurants and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Right.
And so they're going to be staying. And I don't know why the NBA couldn't do that either. Why the NBA couldn't say, okay, when you're home, you're home.
Yeah.
Then there's so much testing going on. There's so much clearing. We've talked about it with baseball, and I had to address the kids last night with Cam, the
Yeah.
senior Babe Ruth, that there's a clearing process that has to happen. And this is for our little, Seacoast senior Babe Ruth thing.
Right.
Think about how involved that they get with these guys.
I know.
And the amount of money and the doctors they can employ and
Right.
so on, and nurses, that everybody could get cleared hourly if they needed to.
Like, we get cleared to come in here to do our show.
We do.
So
Yes, we do.
I think they could do that with the NBA or professional athletes.
The Bruins had a positive test on their team, positive COVID test. And, he's fine. The player's fine. He's feeling fine, wasn't really experiencing a lot of symptoms and stuff
Right.
like that. But I think, and then we'll jump to the NFL real quickly too, that Dallas and Houston both had a bunch of players that tested positive.
Yeah.
One of them being Ezekiel Elliott,
Yep.
which he's pretty upset that his name got released with
I
that.
know. Yeah. I did see that.
So, if a player tests positive, so I kind of put in here, what happens if I'm going to use Tom Brady. What happens if Jarrett Stidham tests positive
Yeah.
in the NFL season?
Right.
And he's going to be out for what's probably going to be,
Couple games. Yeah.
a couple games, 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Or what happens if the whole offensive line gets test positive?
Yeah.
I don't think people fully understand how tenuous any of these seasons are. Because if it goes through the locker room, there's forfeits.
I think there would have to be.
I mean,
yeah.
there's going to have to
They
be.
can't field the team. It's not like it wouldn't be like baseball is different this year too, but it wouldn't be like baseball where you could bring your minor leaguers up to
Right.
play. There are no football minor leaguers. There's a practice squad with not enough players.
Not enough players. So
Yeah.
I think that's really going to have to be looked at as far as how they're going to deal with that. And we mentioned to the players last night that how tenuous this is.
Yeah.
That we have to be really socially responsible about what we're doing if
Right.
we want to continue to play baseball. These guys too. I just don't necessarily think that they need to have a bubble in Orlando.
Yeah. Right.
I think that they could be safe moving around.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think college sports are a real big if too, because you saw the University of Houston. Now Texas is on the rise again. Texas is
Yeah.
having a tough time right now, but University of Houston was doing optional off-season workouts,
yeah.
and a whole slew of the players
Yeah.
on their football team tested positive, and so they shut it down completely.
I think I would be. I think I'm more of an advocate for the bubble, at least in college. So think about college. We obviously both went to college, and as a college athlete, like you could go preseason and kind of just stay and not have to leave college. You know what I mean? College is an atmosphere where you can, be fed, have a dorm, go to practice. Everything that you need could be right there. There's no reason to leave campus. Mm-hmm. So I think college sports could happen as long as you bring in those athletes early enough, and with the conditions that you're not leaving and nobody's visiting you. Like this is, you could see mom and dad or whatever at Thanksgiving when the season's over, type of thing. So I think you can kind of create that safety bubble that you have.
Can the bubble move?
What do you mean by can the bubble move? The bubble can move to play games.
Right, so they can
absolutely.
Go to,
the bubble would have to move, but
yeah.
The bubble has to move as a bubble. So in college maybe that's a charter bus, and you'd have to test the driver. He wouldn't be part of the bubble type of thing. But you see what I'm saying? Kind of that way you could kind of create a kind of a safe zone.
Well, I'm going to go back to baseball again. We talked last night about our team has to be a bubble.
Yeah.
When the kids arrive for a game or a practice, and I obviously this is on a much less level
Sure.
than the MLB would be.
Right.
But when they arrive for practice, Cam has to clear them.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to being cleared by their parents, and once they're in the practice bubble, they have to stay in the practice bubble or the game bubble and so on. And we're talking about if there's a foul ball, and if somebody outside the bubble touches the foul ball,
sanitize that ball.
That ball has to be sanitized because it happened outside the bubble.
Yeah.
I think you could do this, with the budget. We have no budget in Senior Babe Ruth, but with the budgets that these guys have,
with
could,
professional sports and high level college sports, you can do that.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess that's about it.
It is. I think not to go down on a negative road. I think this is positive. We are looking and seeing that there are a whole bunch of sports that want to open up and hopefully going to open up. So it's not like we were a few weeks ago, like, oh, we're going to have sports. It's looking like, hey, things are starting to open up even at the youth level. So that's exciting for us.
And there are a lot of decision makers that are really trying to get these things open up and trying to find ways. And, we know that at Kingswood that there's a lot of proposals being put in place about how the off-season activities can happen.
Right.
And, just with our simple baseball teams, we've had to put some things in place, some procedures in place to make those things happen. Mm-hmm. And so I do believe that, people want sports to open up. I've watched golf last week, and golf was on last week, and it was great to see a live event.
Yeah.
Korean baseball has been on.
I've been watching
5 o'clock in the morning.
I know. I've been watching. I've been watching at 5, but watching the replays. So,
it's nice to see the sports get happening again.
Yeah.
I think people understand how tenuous all of it is.
Yeah.
And hopefully everybody's smart about it and practices as responsible of social distancing as they can, and social awareness as they can, and hopefully they stick.
Definitely. All right, let's thank our sponsors again. I'd like to thank Morrissey's Porch and Pub,
Downtown Grill and Cafe,
and Skelly's Market, and of course our great producer Timothy Goodwin.
And thanks Coach Paul Landry for joining us,
Yes.
and we will see you next week. Go Knights.
Go Knights.